Hello YouTube vintage stereo collectors and restorers. Okay, I shot 48 minutes of video working on this Night KG60 amp. Then I sat down for a while and tried to edit it into something that would be enjoyable to watch. And it just wasn't happening. And basically, I did do a video about putting in these caps. That one had, a few people looked at it, I understand. I find videos where how can I put it, get more into the philosophy of stereo seem to be more popular these days. That's a good shot of it, okay. So, I'm just going to tell you where I'm at, and the whole premise of this video is stuff like this worth restoring? Okay, because some days I really wonder. This is 6364 early solid state. It is a difficult unit to work on. So I did the 4 1000 microfarad caps. And then sitting in over here was this. It was wired under this board. But I took it out of its clamp. Put these two 470s, because this is two 500s positive common, put them in like this with some sticky tape to hold them in, and they're in. They're in the clamp. The pressure of the clamp and the sticky felt are holding it together. There's the positive ground to right there. These two terminals are basically from the power supply we were working on earlier, and then they go right onto this board. So that takes care of the main filtering of the unit. Then I realized, I tried to do this video showing how to install a headphone jack that looks like it's factory. And what I realized is the last KG60 I did, which is about 11-12 years ago, had a factory headphone jack. And I thought, well, okay, so basically I did about 48 minutes of hacking and filing. And it boils down to this. It was really boring to watch. What I basically did is looked at some pictures of where it would be, marked a hole, drilled with a 1/8" pilot hole. There's this plate, and then there's the metal body behind it, so there's quite a bit of metal. Drilled a hole, made it big enough so that this would come through. So this is basically, right in there, the nut that holds it in is on this first layer metal, the actual chassis. So that turned out really nice. And because I was kind of thinking on this one, it's only about 8 to 10 watts per channel, this early germanium amp. I thought, I love the sound of these. It can be a little anemic sounding sometimes depending on how loud you like your music, but I thought, what a great headphone amp this would make. So what I wanted to be able to do is to go da-dum. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to test it, see what I get. I've got a source off to the side here, coming through the auxiliary input. Let's first turn it on, make sure nothing blows. Okay. It's very quiet. Music both channels. Huh. So basically, it's working. It actually sounds not bad at all. This with original transistors and a lot of original caps. A lot of a high hiss level, especially on the phono stage. It sounds terrible. What you call that shot noise? It's like a lot of that. Controls are nice. Huh. It actually does not sound bad. But I have a feeling about a couple things, and this will confirm it with my meter. These old Bendix germanium transistors especially. So the way this works is These two transformers are interstaged between the driver board and the output transistors. The output transistors are direct coupled. And it's a split rail power supply, which is kind of unusual in this era. So let's just show you some readings here. I'm going to have to hang on to that. So first of all, let's just check the power supply levels. Negative 22.5 plus 20.7, so it's a little off, but the positive rail actually supplies power to most of the preamp, but we'll look into that later. Let's look at what voltage is at the outputs here. This is what I'm concerned about. Yeah, this is the right channel output, speaker output. This is a 100 ohm resistor that goes to the new headphone jack. 100 ohms is about right to buffer. So if there's a short in the headphone jack, it's not seen as, at worst, it's a 100 ohm load, which it can handle. It's not a short circuit, won't blow anything. We have 443 millivolts of residual voltage here, and that is a bit high. 250. So the last time I ran into this, which was another, I think it was a Nico TRM40, I had to put some newer PNP germanium outputs. I actually have some 1980s stock of the Sylvania NTE 101, I think they are. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace the 4 output transistors and see if that brings it down. It usually does. At the worst, because there's no adjustment on this, at the absolute worst, you can put a 1000 microfarad coupling capacitor and solve that problem. And sonically, doesn't really make a big difference. As far as, I don't feel anything cooking with heat here. These driver transistors are just barely warm. But there's quite a few electrolytic capacitors that are oozing on the board. So there's 4 on this board and 12 to 15 on this board. I'd like to replace those as well, although it's working pretty good. There's really, let's just check another thing here. Go to the AC scale. I want to make sure we don't have any AC leakage. Nope, non-zero. So the chassis is definitely neutral. I had to put a new power cord on it. It had some kitty cat chews in it. The other thing I did, sometimes I want to see how things are going to look. When I put in the jack, I had to take this faceplate off. I cleaned the faceplate. Came up really well. It was kind of tobacco-y around these switches. So clean the switches with isopropyl alcohol. They came out white, which is kind of cool. I like the red power one. Yeah, this little red lens actually fell out on the carpet. I had to go looking for it, and then I glued it in. And these knobs are machine aluminum. There's not a plastic insert. They're machine aluminum. They are absolutely a work of art. And I used some Johnson's baby shampoo and let them soak for a couple hours. They were yellow and very icky looking. Look at how they came out. Yeah, so yeah, nothing's over here. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. It was a bit of a labor of love to put that headphone jack in, but now it's like, this is the way I picture this. I have my main computer over there. It's kind of my music computer. So I don't use a streaming device. I use an actual, a Windows computer. I want to run this off the sound card to a pair of realistic Minimus 7s or to these, I like these Optimus Nova 57 headphones. They have such nice bass. I like them because I put these on, and if somebody's looking for me and they're going, "Brian, where are you?" I can't hear it. Anyway, yeah, that's where we're at with this. So I'm going to do I'm going to recap. Let's turn around here so you can see this part. This is exactly the same board as Marsland M200, so is that. I'm going to recap the driver board. It looks like the one transistor was changed. fix up any bad soldering or anything, test it, recap this board. These cosmic caps, I've seen those in pocket radios and stuff from the 60s. It's amazing sounds even coming through those because they are very bad for drying out. I think perhaps once I do the recap and the new output transistors, I'm just going to show you what I'm going to use here. Actually, there's an even better plan I just thought of. Where are they? Oh, I have so many parts here, something funny. Okay, they're in the downstairs closet. Let's just flip this over so you can see it. So on the bottom, we have these transistors. Bring it in a bit. So these 4 are the outputs. I thought these were drivers. I forgot. It's been a while since I worked on one. This is actually power supply regulation. The rails are regulated. So these are basically the same PNP germaniums. You can actually sub a PNP silicon in there and it will work. And so I might do that and then put some new PNP germanium there. If that doesn't work, I might actually try to convert it to silicon transistors. But it is a bit of a pain on these because this board right here, which controls the voltages and the emitter resistor bulbs, you got to do quite a bit of work to get that to work right. But I'll let you know with another video update. But the thing I am asking all the people that are cool enough to watch my videos, are these worth rebuilding? Because I actually showed it to 2 friends of mine that are into this, and I thought they might be into it, and they said, well, what do you think it will take to rebuild it? And I said, realistically, at least 100, 120 in parts, between capacitors, some transistors, and like the answer I got immediately was, it's too old. And that's because the Japanese golden era stuff is what's really popular right now. You can't deny it. This American-built early solid state stuff, and even some of the tube stuff is sort of, I can't explain it, drifting down in value. But I think it's worth rebuilding. I think it's worth putting some money into, because my experience with them is they have great sound. Anyway, thanks for watching and listening.